Well, I tell you, I found a clue that I wanted to share with you, and that is Corrigatus reporting for chicchats. Safety glasses, not just for safety. I paid very good money when I was a snow skier, and there was this thing called deadlight. And deadlight is where there's no depth perception. It's not just like pea soup fog, but I mean, there's just no, your skis are gone. You better be able to hold your knees and your body relaxed to whatever bump you hit, and however you got to get down to the lodge and get off that slope. Well, that's where I first experienced it. Then driving the back roads where it's dark. Now, most people in the city, and most people think they live in the country, but they're really still in the cities because there's all this light in the air. And so you can tell your eye has an adjustment time between, I forget how many seconds and nano whatever's, but there's a measurement for these things. If you really care, look up, ask someone at Stanford, Wikipedia, YouTube it. But there's a response time for your iris to be able to have a conviction on depth perception. So if you're on the curvy roads, which now, because the states have taken federal money, so all of a sudden the states are broke. They took federal money to prevent being broke. So why are we broke? And white slavery, hello, jails, prisons, counselors, doctors, every 30 days. What? I didn't go to the doctor, but when I had to at an emergency, maybe every couple years. And now they're making it like, taking an aspirin. Anyway, I get off the point there. Going back to these, they're so awesome. There's so many ways. Even my doctor, Dr. Nix, I love you. Round Mountain Medical Clinic up there in Round Mountain. They are just so awesome. But Dr. Nix, she's like, wow, thank you. I'd never heard of that. And I told her, guess what? With migraines, where you need to just cut a little bit of the glare. You can call it the aura. You can call it the frequency of that light layer. Whatever it is, I don't care. It's, you can't see. It helps my migraines, calms down the light. I put on a tap if I really have a migraine. But at night, when the bright halogen lights, which are 20 million times brighter than they need to be, and they should have one little tiny beam onto the road, and the rest of it should be that of a frequency that a human being's eyes can adjust to without going blind. Because otherwise, you're on these country roads. And there are deer. There's this thing called deer. Those of you, they're not just two-legged, grabbing your doors in the city. You might be afraid of that. Well, in the country, deer go in front of you. Your whole car is crushed, and you could die, and the deer dies, and it's kind of sad. So there's these, things you have to be aware of. And if you go off that edge, you'll flip, because California, and I don't know how many other states, only gives about 6 inches, and about 8 inches past that, and beyond that, there's a ditch. And a ditch, generally, when a tire and weight goes into it, flips the car. And the insurance companies get to make money. The hospitals get to make money. No blood, no tracers. They make money, and that's no bullet fired. So let's prevent that. You wear these, and you have a pair in your car for night driving, so that when that glare, it just takes a little bit of that glare out. And this is my tip of the day for Chick Chats, to help you have a less stressful day, not just mentally, not just physically, chemically, as the body develops different reactions to stress, but also to lessen the stress that you can have more joy. So Dayton TV in Ohio, and I understand Cincinnati's gotten with them. I know Sacramento access to television just rocks. And so we the people want you to know that you can join us from any land, on any country. YouTube makes us one family. And we can make a difference. All it takes is a twinkling of an eye and two of us to agree. It does not say agree in my name, in a certain name. It says that two people created by God pray, or just go, you know what, it'd be really nice if something good happened at an accident, and I'm so glad those people lived. And God be with the parents of those children that have been lost. But young people are joining the forces of good, because we, the people, need to stand up. And I was showing how if you just take your hair, so tip number 2 is taking your hair, usually in smaller bits, unless it's wet with like Dippity-Doo, Dollar Store, whatever. And then you take pieces of your hair and you do this to it, and then you twine them about, Usually you have a piece of cloth and you wet the cloth. And in the olden days, that way, when you wore it up in Ninja Girl style all day and people go, she's a Pippi Longstockings, only her hair is in a bun. Well, then when you bring it out, you have some body. And I had hair twice as long as this my whole life. And what I also wanted to remind you is wherever your pain is, start there. So take a deep breath. Make sure your belly goes out. Uncross your legs. Get your feet on the ground. And go, if you can, take your shoes off and walk on the grass and get grounded. But if not, roll. First thing in the morning, don't do a big ouchy stretch. Just like the glare. Go small and just come in and out. And offer that part of you. Like my low back's kind of tight. And you can't see my low back, but guess what? It's a part of this spinal twist. And whatever happens at one end happens at the other end. And so if my neck, I have 10 bulging discs now, but 7 are from C2 to T1 or 6. And then it goes on down through the thoracic from there. I've broken my tailbone twice at age 17 and 19, not because I fell out of any saddle, but the cinch broke. Came off sitting. I was paralyzed for I don't know how long. I've been blinded due to head skull fracture, and I have other disabilities that I have learned to overcome my whole life, pain. And now I have pain to live with. So know that you can, instead of 20 minutes at the curling iron, which burns your hair, do this, leave it up, let everyone, if you have a set to take up and tear down, which often I do, so I have to be a girl and a tomboy, I put a cloth like Aunt Jemima over my head or a scarf. You always see me with my scarves, so you take your scarf off and you can bind up your hair if your throat is cold because your hair got wet and your throat's cold. So anyway, however you make it, it doesn't make you a raghead necessarily to wear one of these. So you can put your hair up with the wound ups and braid it, and then put the band-aids, these little things that you put around for your hair, and then you can put around those and make the balls nice and tight. And then you can do your isometrics, which is tightening your muscles and using your oxygen and keeping your core straight like you're talking about. So now your hair is going to be up conditioning itself for tomorrow if you have a big thing tomorrow, but you don't have that 20 minutes for a curling iron. Or you're like me, you're rushing in and you're being the crew. You're not just being, a pretty face or a sexy body. You're being the crew. But guess what? My back hurts. So I need to make sure I gently, see how I support my hip while I do that torque. So I'm within my own boundaries. And when you do up and down, right, and then go down, I usually like to do a nice serpentine motion to get everything. And then you can find, oh, that one still hurts. And you may need to put a little lotion. So there's 3 tips or more. And guess what? It didn't cost you anything. And so my son says, hey, Mom, if you worked as much as you volunteered, you'd have more money. And I would answer, honey, sweetheart, it's a different bank account. I believe in God. I believe in heaven. But I believed in heaven on earth, so that means you and I have got to choose to be good. And the principalities of the war of which is on us right now is how we make choices to be good or not. Can't wait for Santa Claus to tell you, in your heart, children are born with that. We need to honor children and feed our families before animals. And I'm sorry, no kills places are really nice, but anything determining over a certain age should have an honoring death just as any human being deserves the right to not have to live in pain just because some doctor's making his golf, fee off of it, or keeping the feds off of him because they've decided to get into our business. We, the people of the United States, wanted a free country where we could choose. Now, yes, that means my Marine can choose to have his old habits, and drama is an addiction. And some young girls are definitely better at it. So if we want to come out of those addictions, we need to learn to love ourselves and have faith and realize that we might be that hope. So let's get out of pain. Let's do what we need to prepare. Let's find ways that offers each other a belly laugh. Like I said, my blonde and my dyslexic this morning were having such a fight, I couldn't decide what to wear. Have a good day. God bless you in all names. He can interpret it. And ask an angel to be there with you if you're scared. Just ask. All you have to do is ask. They're non-denominational, and they would love to be there for you. Even if you're my enemy, I would be grateful if your light versus dark angel was called upon to help you and your family and loved ones. That's how we unite our differences. And we feed those that come to us. We don't bitch them out for having saved lives or having been whoever they are. We are all unique creations of God. We all are unique creations of God. Perfect or not.